Yes, people, new YouTube series, yeah. I wanted to try and think of like a cool alliteration type of thing, but it's just not gonna work. Beanbag, obviously I'm sitting on a beanbag, right? And I'm basically teaching. So it's like lessons, beanbag lessons. But it just doesn't have the same sting to it. But hey ho. Basically, the first thing that we're gonna talk about for this video is just how to buy a house for free. And I know you're thinking, bruv, like, how the hell is that even possible? Of course you need money. And the short answer is yes, of course you do need money. But by going through this process that I'm about to explain, this is what, like, when you see property people saying, like, oh yeah, I bought this house for free or no money down and all of this nonsense, this is basically what they mean. So once I've explained the full framework, if you follow it and acquire a deal following this framework, you will essentially own the house for free at the back end of the deal materializing. So, first thing is first. All right, cool. So the first thing that you have to consider when trying to buy a house for free is how much the property is going to be valued at the back end. So you need to more or less go through the process of running your numbers. And this is a process that you do regardless of whatever deal it is that you're trying to take on. Obviously, you need to run your numbers so that you know how much you can more or less buy something for. And I say that to say how I do it, or how I advise any of you to do it, entering property. Or if you're already in property and you don't do it like this, I would advise you to do it like this, because once you reverse engineer and work your way backwards, it gives you a lot more clarity on your numbers and how much you should actually be paying when it comes to buying a property. So the process kind of works like this. You work out the end value, you figure out how much the banks are going to lend you on that end value, which rule of thumb is around 75% in a given normal scenario. Sometimes you might get 80, sometimes it's less, but for simplicity, we're just working on 75% loan to value. Cool. Once you've worked out the 75% loan to value, or in other words, the money that the bank will give you once the house has been refurbed or brought up to a new standard, or whatever you want to call it, you want to now deduct any associated cost that you've incurred through the process of bringing the house up to the new value. So this could include any refurb costs, any architect fees, legal fees, finance costs, literally any cost that you can think of that you've incurred as a result of buying this house, you add on to there. You literally add it on, every single cost, everything, even surveyor's fees, everything you can think of, even flipping, buying, I don't know, furniture or whatever. Just add every single cost to it, right? And then once you've worked out all of the outlay, that will then bring you to a figure. And this figure is the money out figure. It's basically the amount that you can buy the house for that will allow you to pull out every single penny from the deal. And that's how you get all money out. All right, so now that I've explained it, and you should understand how the framework basically works, how the framework basically works, I'm gonna run through an example, right? So let's say now you found a deal, you've done your due diligence and you've worked out that the GDV, or the end value, is 400,000. The bank will lend you 300,000 at a 75% loan to value mortgage, right? Now, assuming that the refurb costs 40,000, finance fees are around 12,000, legal fees coming at around 3,000, and then any other purchase associated costs coming at 2,000, and then we'll assume stamp duty at around about 7,000, which works to 3% of the purchase price. That will give us a maximum offer of 236,000, which basically means that if we secure it at 236,000 and complete the development project at the back end of it being valued at 400,000, this will allow us to pull all of the money that we've invested into the deal, thus basically just us getting a house for free. Now, it sounds easy and it sounds like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is cool. I can just run out and get deals and get a house for free. Well, in reality, nothing is as easy as it seems, and that's the caveat that I'm going to give you, because you'll find that when you actually go to the marketplace and run your numbers on a lot of projects that you do find, the max offer number that you get after running your numbers and figuring out, cool, if I want to pull all of my money out, this is how much I can offer to the vendor. You'll find that a lot of the time, how much the property is marketed for may be way, way, way higher than the max offer, allowing you to pull out all of your money. So I say that to say, always approach things with a bit of common sense almost, right? Like if someone has marketed a property and they want it sold for 300,000, you ran your numbers and it's saying that you can pull all of your money out, but you have to bid max 150,000. You've got to be kind of realistic and just say, okay, cool, like this is way off. Do I have any type of wiggle room? So I say all of that to say, let's say you ran your numbers now, cool, it's like 80 grand off the asking price, right? If you're happy leaving some money in, let's say 20 grand or even 30 grand, that isn't a massive amount of money. And at the end of the day, you've basically got a house for whether it's 30,000 or 20,000 or whatever. That is still a solid deal, provided that it cash flows well enough and it fits for whatever it is that you're trying to do. Then happy days. You're never really gonna come across the unicorn type of deals all the time. I would say with me, I'm in the process of buying 3 houses at the moment. 2 of them, in fact, only 1 of them is a full all money out deal. The other 2, I think in one of them I'm gonna leave in around 20 grand, and in one of them I'm gonna leave in around 12 grand. But both of them are gonna net cash flow £1,200. So once you actually do the return on investment calculation, that's all money back within 12 months anyway. So I say that to say, no framework is ever more senior than an actual scenario. Things like this are only meant to provide you an indication of what is possible. But you've always got to take everything with a pinch of salt and apply it to your direct situation. Which is, yeah, that's my 2 pence. Because if you just try and go for these deals, right, that allow you to pull every single penny out, yeah, you might come across one. Might, emphasis on the might, because it is very difficult to. But for the most part, you'll just be putting offers in and you'll be getting rejected like a, yeah, I was gonna swear, but I don't want YouTube to come after me. But you know, you're just gonna get rejected a lot, and it's just gonna knock your confidence back in wanting to make the calls to agents and wanting to put offers forward, because when you're not really seeing any type of progression, you're just gonna think like, is this really worth it? So I say all of that to say, always take everything with a pinch of salt. This framework I've shown you, you should 100% use it, but don't just think off the bat that you're always gonna get houses that are, yeah, it will allow me to pull every single penny out and I'm gonna get this house for free and that house for free and this house for free. A lot of the people on the net, when it comes to property, I've realized is they lie about numbers or they over exaggerate certain things. So yeah, man, just do what works for you. Obviously apply this framework, it flipping works. Yeah, I've used it on all the deals that I'm doing, and it's never failed me once. It's not failed me whatsoever. So yeah, that's the caveat that I had to give before you guys just think that you're just gonna run out there and get a million deals, all money out, and happy days. So yeah, what other caveats have I got to give you? One of the steps, right, when you're calculating stamp duty, I would leave that to the end. Reason being, stamp duty is charged as a percentage of the purchase price. But obviously we're working backwards. So we're going from the end value all the way down to the purchase price. So I say that to say, once you've deducted all of the other costs like the refurb, the legals, and any other purchase associated costs, you've kind of got a rough idea in your head of how much the maximum offer will be, and then you can pretty much guesstimate what the stamp duty would be based on that. And then the last caveat that I have to give you is the odd scenario where your maximum offer is actually higher, yeah, than what the property is being marketed for, because this has actually happened to me before. In a situation like this, what you want to do is don't get excited and instantly say, okay, I'm going to offer 175,000 when they only want 150,000. This is where like the art of negotiation basically comes into play. So how I usually do it is phone the agent, say like, oh yeah, I'm interested in, I don't know, house number 3 on Walker Street, right? And then they're like, oh yeah, how can I help? Do you want to book a viewing in? Blah, 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 or whatever they say. You can be like, yeah, but I was just curious, like, what's the vendor situation like at the moment? Like, is he after a quick sale, etc.? Then a lot of the time I find is that they'll be open with telling me a bit about the vendor situation, and then from there you can kind of position yourself saying like, okay, cool, I've ran my numbers, I know exactly what it is that I want to do with the property, and I'm ready to move fast. How much is the vendor willing to take in order to take the property off the market today? And then 9 times out of 10, right, the agent will say like, oh, you need to come in and view it and this and that. And then that's where you kind of be like, oh yeah, cool, like, I know exactly what it is that I'm trying to do, and I'm gonna definitely come and view it, but I just, you know, I don't want to waste anyone's time coming out there, etc. And then the number that he has in his head is far off like what I'm prepared to offer, etc. And then a lot of the time, sometimes the agents still do push back, but then sometimes they'll be like, okay, cool, you know what, let me speak to the vendor and get back to you. It kind of just depends on how much interest the property has had. If it's had a lot of interest, I'm not even going to lie to you, don't even bother doing all this negotiation stuff. Book that viewing in and put your offer in ASAP. But if it's one of those properties that's been sitting on the market for a while, other people might not have seen the potential that it has, and it works for you, get that offered in as low as you can. So, because at the end of the day, you're out to maximize profit, right? So that's what I would advise. That's what I would 100% advise. Asking those questions, going through that process, and then once they've come back to you and said, okay, the vendor is happy to move at this number, activate, book your viewing in, get your offer in straight away, and happy days. That is a rare occurrence though. A lot of the projects I've been finding at the minute, the competition is absolutely rampant. So I'm just trying to give you every single scenario so that you know how to handle different situations as you encounter them. But anyway, yeah. Love for locking in, you guys. If you did want to basically just look at more of this type of stuff in depth, I've written out a whole, I think it's like 28-page ebook. It's there for free. Go in the link in the description under get access to my free ebook. Fill in your name, email address and whatnot, then it gets sent to your email address. It will give you the link to download the PDF version of the ebook, as well as the video walkthrough, which I've uploaded on Google Drive. And yeah, you can have a field day. It basically covers everything that you need to know in order to get started in property. But the next beanbag lesson next week, I don't know what it will be on. If you have any suggestions, let me know down below. And then, yeah, lesson number 2 on the way. But I hope you have enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, and continue to lock in and follow my journey. New vlog coming out as well soon.